My name is Peter Weiss. I'm on the Oceanside City Council, and on behalf of the entire City Council, I want to welcome you to this event. Just a quick story that scams, and not just senior scams, happen more often than what you would think. And I'll give you an example of one that happened to me. I got a call. Caller ID on my phone said the call was coming from the Vista Sheriff Station. The person identified himself as a deputy sheriff and that a warrant had been issued for my arrest because I didn't go to jury duty. I'm thinking, wait a minute, I have all my stuff. And all they wanted to make sure that I got my day in court was $1,000. But it was in Google Play cards. So I had the ability to contact the police chief who said it's a scam. Someone else just told me a little bit ago, they got a call from SDG&E saying because they didn't pay their electric bill, they needed $500 right away to keep their electricity turned on. So it happens more than what you would think. And I hopefully with what you're going to hear today, you are going to be more aware when those things happen and how often they happen. It's surprising how often they do happen. So hopefully you enjoy yourselves today, you learn something, and you get a benefit from it so that you can keep it from happening to you and your neighbors and your loved ones. So I want to thank you for being here again, and with that, I'm going to introduce our council member, Rick Robinson.
Thank you, Peter. Hope everybody can hear me. I'll try to speak loud. I'm going to introduce Lori to you in a second, but as Peter said, sometimes these scams, they're just not for seniors, even us young guys. Okay, you're awake. There you go. And that's how the scam starts. It starts with a little lie, and then we bring you in. And so, but I too want to welcome you all here, and I'm very glad you're here. And for those who are putting this event on, it's pretty amazing. Stories, we all have stories. So here's mine on the scam is, a few days ago, my wife and I, Cheryl, we said, let's find a movie to watch. And we found this one called Beekeeper. And I thought, I love bees. So I'm not recommending it unless you like a lot of killing and stuff. But the premise of the movie is that a retired woman who's done nothing wrong in her life, and she's managing her retirement and helping a charitable foundation with their money, with a lot of money. And she gets an alert on her computer screen while she's balancing the books and doing things saying, you have been infected, call this number. And she calls the number, and then you see what happens. And it walks you through how these scammers work. And as you're watching this, you're getting angry because you know it's real stuff. So 3 or 4 days later, I'm sitting at my computer at home, doing a little Google search, and bam, the same alert pops up on your computer is infected, don't turn your computer off, call this number, and having that movie in the back of my head, I didn't want Jason Statham running through my house shooting things up, so I didn't call the number. But it happens to all of us, and you just have to be aware of it and know it and recognize it, and that's what you're going to get today. You're going to learn a lot about this. So let me get this started. I want to introduce Lori. She already came up and said a little bit about herself, but Assemblywoman Lori Davies from District 74, and I know she mentioned it, but a lot of you weren't in the room. That includes parts of OC, Dana Point, San Juan Capistrano, Laguna Niguel, San Clemente, and then we get to the good parts of town down here, San Juan Capistrano, Oceanside, Vista, and parts of Fallbrook. Lori first got elected. She's a former mayor, small business owner, but she first got elected to Assembly in 2020, and then I met her in 2022 when I was running for council, and she was very helpful to me and kind of walked me through some of the things that I didn't know I was getting into. But she's very active in the Assembly. She's a vice chair on 3 of the committees, and they're all about service, military and veterans, transportation, and emergency management, and those are very important things. But she's very proud of this, and I'm very proud that she's part of it. It's called the Problem Solvers Caucus, and this is a bipartisan group of legislators who actually work together to try to get things done. And Lori's been responsible for getting a number of things done. And I'm going to share a couple things. because they've been helpful to us here in Oceanside. She got $1 million in state funds to help us build and revise our new training facility for the fire department, which, as the former fire chief, I really appreciate that. She got money to help modernize the community event center in Vista. And my old fire department that I worked for over 30 some years, the OCFA, she helped get them equipment to combat wildfires, to help them fight wildfires. She has a proven track record and in the last 4 years, she successfully had 16 legislative measures signed into law. And many of them increased our public safety and did things like mitigated our coastal erosion, things that will pay off way down the road. So I just want to have you help me welcome Lori Davies to the podium, and she has some comments for you. Lori?
Good morning, and first of all, thank you for your patience. Greatly appreciated. And thank you so much. You know, having the opportunity to do something like this is such an honor. You know, we look at the scams that are going on, and with AI coming out, it's going to be even tougher. So I'm really proud that we've got an incredible panel here that know what they're talking about. And as Councilmember Robinson was talking about, thank you for letting me serve you. I really I've been in politics for a while, and I really believe that you leave your politics and your party on the side and we talk about policy, because that's what our job is to do. And my job is to make sure, number one, that you're safe. So public safety has always been my priority, whether I was city council, mayor, and now assembly. We do a lot with fentanyl because we know what a crisis that is right now. Domestic violence, sex trafficking. I mean, we can go on and on, but also, you know, affordability, I think, is probably one of the number one issues right now. Just being able to put food on the table and gas in the tank. So do know that we're fighting up there. I voted 6 times to go ahead and give you a gas tax vacation. So, you know, you see the prices go up there, but do know that we are constantly fighting for that. And you know what? Your voices make a difference. I'm one voice up there. But if you don't get Davies Dispatch, how many do get Davies Dispatch right now? We send something out every week because it's important that you know what's happening up in Sacramento. As I tell people, people aren't leaving California because of their congressperson. They're leaving because of the policies that are being made up in the Capitol. Really, about 90% of what happens to us every day, from your finances, your health, your safety, your business, and your kids' education, is decided up there. And a lot of times people don't want you to know what's happening. So Davies Dispatch, we put things out there and we'll say, hey, if you don't like this, here's a number you can call or an email, because your voices have made a great difference this year. We've been able to stop some very bad bills that would have made it even more unsafe around the area. It would have cost things such as rent going up. So do know that we are fighting for you. So I appreciate it. And we're going to get back into this now. So obviously financial abuse and scam targeting different people, especially our seniors, is a massive issue here in California. And those who scam seniors are just plain evil. Did you all know that according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, in 2023, California's lost $2.3 billion in scams, mostly from internet schemes. The DA, Summer Stephan, is here today to let you know what is going on in San Diego County. $97.3 million stolen from our senior citizens in San Diego County. It's almost $100 million. In Sacramento, I've made it my mission to support legislation that will finally go after these thieves and equip our law enforcement with tools to prevent future scams. For example, last year I supported AB 386, which would not only increase the time a senior has time to report a suspected scam to a full 60 days after the incident to get help from banking institutions. In addition, it will require banking institutions to give law enforcement critical information about what information a scammer tried to get, such as a bank card issue, changes of address requests, and power of attorney or trust documents submitted. These tools will hopefully ensure the law enforcement has all the necessary information, not only to track down the criminals, but to also help recover any money that was stolen from you. In addition, this year I voted in support of AB 2636, which will give the Director of the Department of Aging the statutory authority to finally coordinate with all other state agencies on ways we can decrease crimes happening to our seniors, which includes elder and financial abuse. This is long overdue. Our state needs to have coordinated responses and plans in place to protect vulnerable populations. Lastly, I want to always say that if anyone has any legislation ideas based on experiences or knowledge of what other states are doing, please talk with my staff, because we always are looking for new bill ideas we can introduce in order to help basically solve any problem. So our door is always open, whether you're up in Sacramento, Oceanside, or San Juan. We get the ideas for our legislation and our bills from you. And that's the way it should be. It's the people's voice that matters. All right. Before we hear from our fantastic speakers, we thought it would be good to actually let you see a common scam that can happen in your home on your computer. How many have computers up here? Pretty much everyone. All right. I would like to introduce Jack Cleary, who works for Councilmember Rick Robinson, to assist with this demonstration. Jack?
All right, thank you very much, Lori. Hello, everybody. My name is Jack Cleary. I work here at the City of Oceanside for Councilmember Rick Robinson. But before this position, I actually worked at Geek Squad. How many of you are familiar with Geek Squad? For good or for bad? Well, there I saw pretty much every scam you could imagine, all the different screens that pop up, and all the different things that are really tripping people up these days. So what I want to do right now is show you some of these screens that you might be familiar with, but then show you also how to close out of this program so that you can defend yourself from this and you don't need to go into Geek Squad or call your grandson or do any of that. So, right here, how many of you are familiar with a screen that looks something like this? Ever get one like this? Maybe one that looks like this. It's going to tell you, you are infected, you need help, you call this number and we'll get this virus off your computer for you. So, here's another little video. Sometimes it beeps and yells at you. Yes. My apologies. All right, hopefully that's full screen. Oh, where's the sound on this? All right, we got a backup one as well. So yeah, screens like this, it'll beep at you, it'll yell at you. You also got ones that look like this. This will be on YouTube. But what I'm going to show you how to do is when you get a screen like this, when it's yelling at you, it's scaring you.
IP address was used without your knowledge or consent to visit websites that contains identity theft virus.
That's interesting.
To unlock the computer, please call support immediately. Please do not attempt to shut down or restart your computer. Doing that may lead to data loss and identity theft.
All right, so when you get a screen like this, there's a very simple solution that'll get rid of this and it'll close out of it entirely. All you need to do is hold Alt and press F4. When you do that, it closes out of the program entirely and disappears.
We're gonna give you a little handout. You can take it home.
My apologies if I'm not speaking into the mic clear enough. So yes, in order to just close out of a program, you hold Alt and you press F4. And we have a little handout that we're going to be giving everybody. It walks you through this step by step. But I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I'm going to pass the microphone off. We just wanted to empower you guys, show you a quick little trick to get rid of or to just close the program, even if it locks up. Don't bring it into Geek Squad. You can just handle it yourself. You don't actually have a virus.
And never pay money.
And never, ever pay money to somebody who's telling you they're going to fix your computer.
What happens if let's say your regular computer is down and you're on your phone? How do you get out of this if you're on your phone?
Definitely, that's a great question. So when you're on your mobile phone and you're browsing the internet and you're looking at something, and oftentimes one of these things will pop up on your phone. The phone, it's a little bit easier. So on the computer, it'll actually kind of lock you out and won't let you exit out of the screen or whatever. Holding Alt and pressing F4, you get out of that, but you don't have that on the phone. On the phone, all you got to do is close out of the tab. You really can't get a virus on the phone. It doesn't work the same as a computer. On a phone, just exit out of that the browser that you're in or the tab that you have open. That's a great question. Thank you very much. But I'm going to pass this back off to Lori. Thank you so much for your attention.
Okay.
All right, again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to learning about ways we can finally end these scams. There are no stupid questions, and once all speakers have presented, we will have time for questions and answer with our experts. Now it is my pleasure to introduce San Diego's County District Attorney, Summer Stephan. Summer Stephan was elected as San Diego's District Attorney in 2018 and re-elected in 2022. Summer Stephan has dedicated her career to fighting for children, families, and our nation's most vulnerable from trafficking and sexual exploitation, which has led her to pioneer her own special victims unit in the state-of-the-art Family Justice Center here in North County, built specifically for victims of domestic violence and elder abuse. As district attorney, she leveraged her leadership to prioritize the public safety of San Diego, more than 3 million residents, ensuring that San Diego stays one of the safest urban regions in the United States. In doing so, she has championed community campaigns, including San Diego Opioid Project and Veterans Treatment Model in North County. Summer Stephan holds a BA from US Davis and Juris Doctor from University of Pacific McGeorge School of Law, and has also received numerous awards of excellence, such as District Attorney of the Year from Crime Victims United. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Summer Stephan.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I'm so excited to be with all of you. I feel like you all just somehow snuck in because this is a senior event, but so that you can inform the senior in your life on how to stay safe, I'm going to let you stay and take notes and pay attention. Thank you so much, Assembly Member Davies, for your longtime collaboration on public safety bills that represent and protect our seniors and our most vulnerable. Thank you so much to our council members, Weiss and Robinson, for this amazing forum, and all of your staffs that have worked on this, including my Director of Government Community Affairs, Yoli Apalategi, who helped put this together with everyone. But let me get to it. There's a little time for you to take note of the most important things that are happening in the area of fraud and elder scams in San Diego County. As you know, your DA's office covers the entire county, all 18 cities, 39 unincorporated areas, Oceanside included, and every other city and unincorporated. So at the end of the day, you reach out if something happens immediately to your jurisdictional law enforcement agency. If you're in Oceanside, you call Oceanside Police Department. But if somehow you're not able to connect, you have questions, you're not sure what to do, you can reach out to the DA's office, because we work with all of your police departments anywhere in the county for all 3.3 million people. You can go to SanDiegoDA.com and look up our elder unit. There's a phone number, an email, everything that you need to reach out to us. We have a specialized unit that works solely on protecting seniors from physical abuse and also financial abuse. Today, we're focused on the financial crimes, the scams, and they are many, but there are a few that are more prevalent that you need to know about. I'm so excited, and you're going to get to hear from them, some of the amazing experts in this field from FBI and local law enforcement that work on this tirelessly. But I want to tell you that, like in everything else, San Diego is different. We don't put up with crap. We don't put up with crime. And we take action when we see that these predators are going after people that have worked hard They haven't cheated the system. They've saved money for their retirement. And when we see that there are people whose retirement is compromised because of these scams in the thousands, and like you heard, San Diego did something that hasn't been done before, which is to actually track the monetary amount for the losses. And I know FBI agent's gonna talk about it, because we set a system where every scam is logged into a coordination center we call the Fusion Center. And this coordination center tracks the police reports and losses from victims in San Diego County and helps us connect the dots. Because before, we have 12 police agencies, multiple federal agencies. Everybody reports somewhere different. There was no way to really look at the whole picture and see who's behind this, what is happening. We have learned a lot in the last few years once we really focused on this. And what we learned is this is not a one-off. This is organized crime. Much of it starts internationally, but works with national syndicates here in America to steal millions and billions of dollars and funnel them through laundering, which you'll hear about, and outside our nation. This is really an act of terrorism to people that have worked hard, that is our financial stability. And we are now taking it that seriously with an organized task force that's in Carlsbad here in North County that works on this solely to make sure that we go after it. I want to tell you that in the past, when you called about a scam, you're going to get a police officer who cares deeply about you, but they're going to tell you that there's nothing we can really do because the money's probably already left. Your police officers will no longer tell you that anymore, because we now know that there is potentially a way to track the money through the United States first before it leaves us. What does this mean for you? It means that the sooner you call, when your money leaves you, when you're scammed, the sooner you call, the sooner there is an opportunity to recover your money and to stop it. What stops seniors from reporting? Only 1 of 23 cases are reported. Why? Embarrassment. And it's because seniors want to keep their financial independence. They don't want their kids and family to get into their business and start to control their finances. That's completely understandable. That's American. You want your own stuff that you worked hard on. But the thing is that scams happen to everybody. These fraudsters are Oscar award-winning actors. Everybody from lawyers, doctors, geniuses with high IQs, law enforcement are scammed by these people. So never feel embarrassed. You have a chance to actually stop the fraud and protect another person, and you also have a chance to potentially recover your money. Like the woman recently who reported that she got one of these text scams. And when she got this text scam, initially she didn't report until the calls kept coming. Because what happens after the text scam is your bank will call you. It's not really your bank. But now that they're in your computer, they know where you bank. Somebody from your bank will call you, like Chase Bank in this particular case, and they will tell you, oh, somebody must have hacked your computer because now your bank accounts are compromised, supporting the initial scam. Then the only way you can make it safe is we have to cash you out, and somebody will come and pick it up. And that actually happens because they are so realistic. They're so realistic. But this woman reported it, so the second time they were gonna pick up her money, she lost some money initially. The undercover including one of my investigators and the FBI, and everybody was there waiting. And they nabbed the guy who turned out to be part of a Chinese syndicate that is working here to pick up the money. And guess what? To tell you even more how organized this is, first thing he did when he opened the package is take a picture of it, because he has somebody else to give the money to, and he has to show that he didn't take anything from that box. This is how organized this is. So you have to report it. It's very, very important. The text scam, like you heard, number one scam, 70% of our scams are now text scams. You take that, if you're really worried about your computer, once you close it out, take it to Apple, take it to a Geek Squad, whoever you want, and have a legitimate company fix your computer. I'll tell you, there's nothing wrong with your computer. If anybody calls you and you have a concern, is it really my bank? Hang up the phone, because I know you're going to worry about it. What if it is my bank, right? Even though I heard the DA told me it's not my bank, I still worried. So you hang up and you call your bank, the number that you have for your bank, and you ask the bank, did you call me? Is there something wrong with my account? The same if IRS calls you, the assessor, the sheriff's department. You hang up the phone, which I'm hoping you don't answer in the first place. Why? There's voicemail. So you can wait and hear the package and decide for yourself whether it is fraud. I'm sure it is, because governments don't call you and they don't threaten to arrest you. If they do, call me, because I'll make sure that's taken care of. So what you need to do is just remember you have time. Take a deep breath. Hang up the phone. Call the source, whether it's IRS, whether it's Social Security, whether it's SDG&E, and find out for yourself whether there's an issue, rather than take that call. One of the other big scams is really still we see some of the grandpa scams. And those are going to get better. You know what those are, where your grandchild is in trouble, they're in Mexico, they're in jail, they're in the hospital, you need to get them out. Why are those going to get better and better? Because of AI. They're going to start being able to actually duplicate your family member's voice. They'll be able to capture it and that's already happening, from Facebook, from Snap. They're going to hear their voice and put it together in a message for you. So what you have to do now, again, this is your child, your family, you're worried. So you have to establish now a secret code with your family that you don't post about. A word, a safe word. Remember when we used to teach our kids about safe words? A safe word that you'll use if something is happening for you to say, is there an issue, right? What is our safe word? If they don't give you that, you know that is also a scam. Again, you'll have time to hang up and go to the source. I want to talk to you about real estate fraud. A lot of seniors own real estate, and somebody will try to record over your deed, make it sound like it's their property. The assessor recorder now has a really amazing owner alert. If somebody tries to do anything, and it's free, to your registered deed, if they try to change it, alter it, because now there's so many things. So you can go to the San Diego County Assessor Recorder and go to Owner Alert, and they will put an alert on your property where you get an alert if somebody tries to defraud you of your property. Those resources are available. Again, Adult Protective Services is connected with our task force. If you don't know who else to call, it's not an emergency, call Adult Protective Services. So there's been several really good prosecutions where, for the first time, working with the U.S. Attorney, an organized crime RICO, kind of a gang level crime, was charged on elder scams. So something is going to happen now. We understand what is happening. We're connected together with law enforcement. We're going to take action, but the best win is prevention, and that's about knowledge, because knowledge is power. I want to bring up Jamie Thomas. She's an incredible prosecutor who works on our elder crimes. She's going to talk to you about 2 trending things that are happening right now, and then we'll stop and turn it over to law enforcement. But I'll stay for questions. I see some of you want to ask me a question. I want to answer your question, but in the answer question time. Jamie.
Thank you, Summer. I just wanted to briefly talk with you about some of the trends I'm seeing as a prosecutor up here in Vista. I've been a prosecutor for about 12 years, and for the last 5 years, I've been specifically focusing on elder crimes. So 2 that we're seeing really kind of trending lately. The first is what we call our purse snatching cases. And while this didn't originally alert us when they started to come in, we very soon realized that this was a trend. This was a organized ring. Essentially what these individuals are doing is that they are going out in groups, and they are going to shopping centers, and they are looking for elderly individuals, specifically elderly women with purses. And what they do is they typically have a lookout. They have another individual that may try to distract the potential victim, and then they have another person that comes and snatches, and then typically another getaway driver. And we're seeing that these people will hit one shopping center, and then together they will go and hit a separate shopping center. And we were able to work with local law enforcement to tie these together. So while some may have been happening in Oceanside and others happening in Fallbrook, we were able to connect it and see that this was multiple victims. And so we're able to prosecute this as a group. So not just one purse snatching, but now you have felonies in regards to 18 victims that we've been able to connect together. So we've been seeing that not just up in North County, it's been a trend we've seen around the county, but some things certainly you can do to kind of be mindful when you are shopping. Try to have your purse on your body. If someone's trying to distract you and get your attention, make sure to have your hand on your purse. These individuals typically aren't harming the victims, they're not necessarily shoving them or pulling them. They're just looking for the opportunity to distract. So just be very vigilant. The second one that we've seen, and we see this a lot in different variations, but we call them the contractor cases. And these are where unscrupulous contractors enter your home under the guise of either some plumbing work or roofing work or garage door repair, whatever variety it would be at that moment. And either they charge large deposits that they're not supposed to, or they do shoddy work, or something that was a small repair turns into a very large repair. A couple of years ago, we prosecuted a case involving a runny toilet that then turned into hundreds of thousands of dollars in repair for this gentleman's home. So a couple of things you can do to keep yourself safe from those are when you do have a contractor coming to your home, ask for it. Ask for their card, their contracting license number on it. They're required to give that to you. All licensed contractors should have their card with their contracting license numbers. Once they give that to you, though, don't just take their word for it. You can actually look up that contracting license number on the Contracting License Board website. Look it up. Make sure it's valid. Make sure it actually goes to this particular individual. When you're in conversation with a plumber and then you go and look it up, and it's actually for a gentleman up in North California who has a roofing repair business, you know that the person you just met with is not a legitimate contractor. If they're asking for large deposits up front, that is not permitted. There are rules that you can find at the Contracting Licensing Board website again that will demonstrate to you what is allowed as far as deposits up front. And then secondly, if a small repair is turning into a large repair, don't be afraid to stop it and say, this was supposed to be $100, now you're talking about $4,000. I'm going to take a pause and get a second opinion. Be upfront and be aggressive about it. Don't just take their word for it, and don't just roll over. Briefly, I do want to interject with a third one that we are seeing as a trend that I forgot to mention earlier, Summer, was And these are difficult to prosecute for us in a lot of ways. That we are seeing individuals, elderly individuals, who are inviting other individuals to live into their homes with them. So either acquaintances or people they met at Starbucks that they get friendly with, and they're inviting these individuals to live in their homes with them. It's either this person needs a place to live and our victim is trying to be helpful and letting them come in, or maybe it's an exchange of services. I really need some repair work around my home. I'm not physically able to do anymore. If you come and live with me, I will charge you rent. You can get some work done around the home in exchange for rent. Those kind of setups. Well, unfortunately, what's happening is when that individual is living in your home, these are squatter cases, they now have rights of living in your home. And it's very difficult to get rid of them. And sometimes it starts to snowball. They start to then start borrowing the victim's car all the time. Maybe not asking all the time. Maybe taking their personal identifying information out of the mailbox or out of their wallet, using their credit cards when they're not supposed to. And it starts to snowball, and some of our victims essentially end up living in their bedrooms as kind of prisoners in their own homes. So before inviting anyone into your home, really seriously consider what the potential consequences are. We all want to be the best person, a positive person, but not everyone is that state of mind. So I just wanted to mention those before I go and hand it off. I'm not sure if Mike was next or... Oh. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Alrighty, it's my pleasure to introduce FBI Senior Special Agent Michael Rodd and Oceanside Police Detective Chris James. They served together on the San Diego County Elder Justice Task Force. Detective Chris James started his law enforcement career in 2015 with the San Diego Police Department and later to the Oceanside Police Department in 2017. He's currently assigned to the Property Crime Unit, where he specializes in identity theft, catalytic converter theft, and financial elder abuse, and is a cross-sworn member of the Elder Justice Task Force. Before pursuing a career in law enforcement, Detective James spent 9 years in the United States Marine Corps as a member of the Amphibious Assault Vehicle Community. Pretty impressive there. Detective James has a bachelor's degree in business management from the University of Phoenix and a master's in law enforcement and public safety leadership from the University of San Diego. Senior Special Agent Michael Rodd, FBI. Michael Rodd is a supervisor senior resident agent at the North County Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, office located in Carlsbad, California. In this role, he leads the San Diego Elder Justice Task Force focused on combating elder fraud. He graduated from the University of Dayton in 1997 with a bachelor's degree in political science. After graduating from the University of Dayton, he obtained a law degree from John Marshall Law School and a subsequent Master's of Law degree at Georgetown Law. He served as a military lawyer in the United States Marine Corps for 10 years and joined the FBI in 2010. Since 2010, that's right, he has participated in a wide variety of criminal investigations, including gang and narcotic violent crime, human trafficking, and complex financial crime. It is my pleasure to bring you on up.
Good morning, Oceanside. As one Oceanside resident, I'm very excited to be here. I'm very passionate about this issue. Very, very passionate about this issue. And I have some good news and bad news to share with you. I'm going to share the bad news first. Bad news is there is a tsunami of fraud hitting you every single day. You are under attack. Lou walked up earlier today and showed me a message from a scammer that he got just this morning. It is nonstop. Here's the good news. You guys are lucky here. You have a team in San Diego County that's dedicated to focusing on this issue. That team is made up of the District Attorney's Office, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, San Diego Adult Protective Service, a Fusion Center, all of our state and local partners, including Oceanside PD. So there's a team here in San Diego, and that's very unique, focused on this issue. So I'm passionate about it. I am going to try really hard to get out of here on my allotted time. So I'm going to invoke a very unfair rule. That rule is I get to ask questions, but you guys don't during the presentation. I'll be against that wall afterwards, and I will talk to you as long as you want, okay? Is that fair? Okay. So elder fraud, all this is, well, let me start with this. I'm going to start with my advice that I'm going to end with, okay? So if you take two things from today, I want it to be this: slow down and phone a friend. Those are the two things you need to know, okay? No matter what the scam is, the bad guys are going to impose a fictitious timeline onto you that does not exist. So you just need to slow down, and then everyone here needs to phone a friend and just bounce off what's happening to you, that person. We need to take care of each other. You guys are on the front line, and you need to take care of each other. So slow down and phone a friend. But elder fraud is nothing more than a trick to get your money and give it to the bad guy. That's all it is. The problem is, here's the problem. It's overseas actors, people in India, West Africa, the Dominican Republic that are working in call centers that are specifically targeting you. And they're working with a loose network of money launderers that are all over the United States, that are taking the money from your pockets and moving it to the bad guys overseas. It's a really tough problem. It's a very tough problem to solve, okay? So this is the shocking part, and I think we've already kind of alluded to this. This is elder fraud reported to the FBI in 2023. There's $3.4 billion in losses and over 101,000 victims. So why this is scary to me is two reasons. One, you see the loss amount, that's the red bars. It's going up significantly from 2018 to 2023. The loss amounts are going up significantly. The reason this worries me is because I know that this is terribly underreported, right? Lots of people report their fraud to their local law enforcement. Lots of people don't report it at all. So this number is actually much bigger than the data that we collected. And I think Summer mentioned it earlier today. We tracked locally in the loss amount, and it was almost $100 million worth of elder fraud out of San Diego County last year. Okay? So I want to briefly talk about some trends. This is mostly to give you a heads up of what's coming your way, right? The scam that's impacting the most number of victims is the tech support scam. And what that is the bad guys try to get in contact with you either through a pop-up on your computer, an email to you, or a text message saying something is wrong with your computer, something is wrong with your phone, and they ask you to call a phone number. Their entire goal is to get you on the phone. That's it. That's the hook, to get you on the phone. And once they have you on the phone, you're going to be led down a rabbit hole, which usually includes some sort of bank scam, like your bank account's been compromised, and we need to move the money so that it doesn't get lost. And then generally also a government impersonation scam, like we will have someone from the FBI or the Federal Reserve contact you to move your money and to keep it safe. So that's the number one scam nationally, and here in San Diego is the tech support scam. And it goes, something's wrong with your computer or phone? Oh my goodness, your bank accounts have been compromised? We have to move the money? And then someone in the government will open an account or come pick up the money from you to keep it safe. That's the biggest, most victims. The largest loss amount is investment scams. And these generally are crypto investment scams. And these typically start out with a person that you meet online or a dating site, and sometimes unsolicited emails, and they will develop a relationship with you over weeks or months, and then indicate that they're investing in cryptocurrency, and they're going to show you fake returns that look too good to be true because they are. They will give you a fake investment platform to invest in, and that will be a working platform on your computer that's completely made up and is showing you that the money you invest is continuing to increase, inducing you to put more money into it. They often will allow you to withdraw a small portion of it at the beginning to justify to you that this is in fact real, which will further induces you to invest more money. So that, without a doubt, is the largest loss amount, because people will continue to invest and they don't realize until they try to pull out a chunk of money that the money's gone. So other front runners, just to kind of give you, these scams are out there as well as a romance scam. These are terribly devastating because they not only tug at your pocketbook, but also your heart. They last months, where they will, lots of dating sites, lots of social media contact between you and a person that you believe to be someone else. And they will ask for money over a period of time for a wide variety of emergencies to help them out. Those are heartbreaking because a lot of times the victims don't want to believe that they are in fact a victim. We often pay visits to victims, and we have kind of an interdiction, and we convince them that they are in fact a victim. Lottery sweepstakes scams. These are, hey, you won money and you have to pay money to get your money. Does that ever work? That never works. Okay. And then there's also a decent amount of grandparent scams that are coming your way, and that's essentially your grandson, granddaughter, daughter, son has been arrested, and we need bail. And then last but not least, the government impersonation scam, where you're in a whole bunch of trouble and you have to pay a fine, otherwise you're going to get arrested. This is hilarious because I or someone on my team is often reaching out over the phone to tell a victim, hey, I believe you to be a victim of a scam and here's why. And they hang up on me because they think I'm a scammer. I secretly am very happy that happens. While it requires a trip out to the house to show my badge and my credentials, I'm glad they did it. So all these scams, the manner in which they get your money, okay? I just want to briefly touch on that. And initially, for the longest time, they were having our victims go to crypto ATMs and put money into those crypto ATMs. I would get 5 or 6 reports a week of someone shoving anywhere from 10 to 20 grand of cash into these crypto ATMs. California passed a law recently that goes into effect January 2025. But most ATM providers are currently abiding by it. It caps your deposits to the crypto ATMs to $1,000. So now the reports read, I went into the gas station, I put $1,000 in, I had to drive to another ATM, and my mom, my sister, my brother called and asked me what I was doing, and I realized I was being scammed. So that law in and of itself has created time for intervention, and it's significantly dropped off the loss amount. So like it's a win for California. What that did is now the bad guys are using couriers to come after your house to pick up the money. So that is a current trend that's happening all over the place here in San Diego County and Southern California. And I personally attribute that to that law because The fraud funds instantly went to the bad guys once it was in the crypto ATMs. Now they're having to have someone come pick up large sums of cash. So, no matter what the scam is, whether it's a romance scam, a tech support scam, a grandparent scam, like, no law enforcement is going to come to your house to pick up a large stash of cash and keep it safe. It just doesn't ever happen. So we already kind of covered this. I just wanted to, this tech support scam is probably about 80%, 75 to 80% of the number of victims. So this is, I'm glad we got a tutorial on Alt F4 to turn that alarm off of your computer. But this is without a doubt the thing that's targeting most of our elder victims and getting them on the phone with the bad guys. And again, my 2 pieces of advice is just slow down. When that thing's ringing, beeping, and your computer's locked out, phone a friend and talk about it. You know, I don't want to steal the show from Chris. I'm going to fix the PowerPoint. We're going to give you a quick case example off a tech support scam where Oceanside PD got the bad guy and the DA's office got the money back from the victim.
Yes, they go.
Thanks, Mike. While they're getting that sorted out, I just had a question. Because we've heard of all the different examples, like getting the phone call, seeing the pop-up, and stuff like that. So, who here in this room has experienced something like that? Who here knows somebody that's been a victim of a scam like this? So like 70, 80%, it's a lot, right? So you guys are all targets. It's obvious by what everyone up here said. And what I want to do right now is give you an example where we actually got to catch someone, arrest them, and hold them accountable. In this situation, the victim was very quick to notify OPD, and that gave us the time to formulate a plan to actually apprehend somebody. It's a very rare occurrence, but it's actually happening a lot throughout the county. So in April of 2024, at 6:30 in the morning, the victim went to log onto their Charles Schwab account. They used Google to research Charles Schwab, and they just clicked the first link that popped up. When they clicked the link, they went to log in, and they received one of the pop-ups that we talked about that said, your account's been compromised, call this phone number. The victim called the phone number. After the victim called the phone number, they were told that their account was compromised. And while they're on the phone somehow, the suspect gained access to the victim's computer and noticed that they paid with Wells Fargo. Then, surprise, surprise, the victim's Wells Fargo account was compromised, and the only way for them to secure their funds and get everything squared away was to hand the money to a courier after manually withdrawing money at the banks themselves. And they did this while they were coached through the entire process with the suspect. And this suspect's the India call center suspect. So this is a huge network. You'll kind of see how that breaks down.
Next one.
So it started off with an initial request of $50,000 to be withdrawn, traveling to various bank branches. And the banks began to get suspicious and cut the victim off at $50,000 because they kept going to different banks trying to withdraw more money. And they're like, no, something's going on. We're not going to let you withdraw any more money. So the suspect on the phone said, okay, well, a representative is going to come and pick up that $50,000 cash. And this is the representative that showed up to pick up the cash. So when I go to Wells Fargo or any bank, that's usually what they're wearing, I guess, like gym club, tennis shoes. He doesn't look too happy about having his picture taken, but the victim in that moment realized, wow, this looks kind of odd, I'm gonna take their picture. So the suspect drives away. They collected the cash. That's the victim's cash in those secured envelopes. And then the suspect on the phone says, okay, we need 40,000 more. And the victim says, well, Wells Fargo won't allow me to do it anymore. And then the suspect on the phone said, well, tomorrow, call me at this time. It's like 9:30 in the morning or something like that. And we'll come up with a plan to get the other $40,000. The victim called OPD that night and reported everything. And then I got a call that night, and then early in the morning was able to formulate a plan with all the detectives and property crimes to hopefully apprehend them. Next slide. So what happened was the suspect said, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to get money, you're going to put it in an envelope and send a picture. The victim couldn't get $40,000 because they weren't allowed to go to the bank and take out any more money. So I got to scam a scammer and researched a $40,000 cash seizure, right? And it showed $40,000 in cash in various denominations. I just do some editing and emailed it to the victim's phone and sent it to the suspect. And it worked. So the suspect's like, okay, put it in a bunch of various envelopes. What we did was we put it in middle of the envelopes, but what we put in the envelopes was paper towels. And the victim remains on the phone with the suspect for a while. And they keep getting directed to look outside for the driver. And they wouldn't tell us what kind of vehicle the driver was in. So we had units doing surveillance in the area, and we kept noticing this dark Prius circling the neighborhood, driving fast, then leaving the cul-de-sac. And then they stop in front of the victim's house, and they can see the victim's an elderly man, and they could see the cash that he had. And he says, give it to me, give it to me. And he was like, oh, come here, because we're going to try to arrest him right there. But the suspect driving the Prius refused to come to the door. So we initiated a traffic stop and got him in custody. In case you didn't notice, this is a different person that came on the first day. So, next slide. What ended up happening was we arrested him for grand theft, attempted financial elder abuse, and I obtained a bail enhancement for the suspect, which means it had a PC 1275.1 hold on it, which means the suspect had to prove their money wasn't from stolen means, it was from legitimate means in order to bail out. So that way they couldn't just get out right away. And while the suspect sat in custody for about 30 days, I did a search warrant on the number the victim used to communicate with the person on the call center side. And it revealed that they were in another country, as others up here have indicated. And then, while that was all working itself out, the suspect agreed, after spending 30 days in jail, because they couldn't get legitimate money to bail out for that long, they agreed to pay the victim back $30,000 and plead guilty to a felony and revoke their Fourth Amendment rights for 2 years. And the person that agreed to do that didn't receive money from the victim. They received the paper towels. So this is a good win for Oceanside, and it's because the victim actually realized what was going on, and they quickly called us so that we could put a motion into effect and do something about it.
That was possible because the victim reported it immediately. So that's what we need you to do. If that happens to you, if you find yourself in this situation, you need to contact your local law enforcement as soon as possible. You should also report it on this website here, www.ic3.gov. That is a direct line to the FBI. It's reviewed in San Diego. The complaints from San Diego residents are reviewed on a daily basis. So local law enforcement reporting, and then reported to FBI via this www.ic3.gov. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's hear it for our panel. Now we're going to do question and answer, and keep in mind that we'll just do this for a short time, but they will be out there to answer your questions at the table. And we've got our Mayor Pro Tem over here, Ryan Kahn. And he's going to, if you raise your hand if you have a question, and he will come on over.
Right up front, right away.
What's a crypto ETF? What's a crypto ETF?
It's not working. You can repeat the question.
What's a crypto ATM?
Say it's pure.
Mike says it's pure evil. That's correct. It's an ATM where you can deposit cash into a cryptocurrency exchange, which is very difficult to track digital currency.
It's not real.
As a computer user, do I initiate a click to get the pop-ups coming? In other words, are these just spontaneous, they just show up on my computer? Or do I do something to cause them to find their name?
That's a great question. So
Will you repeat the question just in case they haven't heard things?
the question, if I have it correctly, is is there something that I do as a computer user to initiate the pop-up, right? And it's typically targeted to you through some sort of email, something that's to you that you mistakenly stumble into. They're embedded in ads on the internet, the things that you may consider clicking on, right? Something that looks appealing to you that you want to look at, a lot of times they're found in there. So that's typically how they get to you. The key is not to call the number on the pop-up. Like that's the key. If you're going to be on the internet, these things will find you because they're targeted to you. So slow down, phone a friend, don't call the number on the pop-up.
And don't think you can get rid of dark spots by clicking on a button, because it won't happen and it'll lead you to the viruses. That's what. All those things that entice you, don't click on.
Can you talk about people who scan your wallets? It's happened.
Or skin for.
Can you talk about
Scammers.
scanning wallets
Skimmers.
to get credit cards numbers?
Are you asking about skimmers?
To scan a wallet, somebody walks past you and tries to get the data off your cards in your wallet.
Well, that is an organized crime. Has that happened to you before?
Yes.
So this doesn't happen very often, but what happens is suspects have special devices. They'll have a sack that's carried over a woman with a purse, and they'll walk next to you, and they'll come within close proximity of the other person's belongings. And what's going on is they have an electronic device that will read all of your card numbers in there. And then it compromises the victim's account, and they lose their money that way.
Don't they have wallets in that vendor
Yeah.
stops it?
That's a good point.
Cox Communications has a program where you can call them if you're having difficulty with operating your computer, and they can they'll come on to your computer and help you, show you how to resolve the issue. I do it all the time, and I'm trusting that Cox is legitimate. What do you think about that?
So I know what you're talking about. They have they usually have a code word and a PIN number that you have to provide in order for them to give you access. And I would say that that's pretty similar to what was referred to earlier as using a code word with your family. So if you get a call from Cox and then they're walking you down that path, but they don't ask you for some sort of verification, so you call Cox.
Like the Geeks
I'm calling Cox to a number, and it's something I pay extra for every month. I forget what it's called now. I'm sorry, but and then they say go on, and they provide me with a 4-letter code. I put it in, and then that gives them access to my computer. But I'm calling them and initiating, and it's a technical support program that they offer people, and you pay extra for it every month. So I'm assuming it's okay.
Do they do they ask you for a verification code when you do this?
Well, they asked me what my, yeah, they do. They asked me for my PIN number, correct?
Yes, that's a unique PIN number you create associated with your account.
Right.
And so that's the verification that we were speaking of earlier, dealing with accessing online.
So I shouldn't be fearful of that. That's legitimate.
So let me jump in real quick. You hit the nail on the head. You initiated contact with them after researching it, right? So, and you paid for a service that allows that.
Correct.
Okay, you're in good shape.
Okay.
What you don't want to do, it happens all the time, okay? I'm going to use your question to foot stomp another problem, is when you get your pop-up on your computer and there's a phone number to call, and they ask for access to your computer to fix the problem, okay? So the pop-up on your computer says, something's wrong with your computer, call this number immediately. The first thing they're gonna do is ask you to download software so that they can manipulate and be inside your computer. Bad, not good, okay? So if you pay for a service and you affirmatively reach out to a company that does that, that's okay to do, right? A lot of legitimate companies have support lines that you can pay for, and they will assume control of your computer to help fix the problem. That's common. But the bad guys also use those same programs, right? So if someone's contacting you, and you're not contacting them, and they ask for remote control of your computer, that's a bad thing, okay?
Yes, first I just want to say thank you to Assemblywoman Davis for doing this today. We certainly appreciate those who are looking out for us. My question don't have anything to do with this particular thing, but this is about identity theft. I've had a few people that I know that have gone through identity theft, and it's like pulling teeth for them to get their identity back. Is there anything being done toward identity theft?
Well, there's always something being done about identity theft. The charge we use in the penal code is 530.5A, and we arrest people for it when we can prove that it occurs. When people have fully lost their identity, or say their social security number, their credit report's been compromised, is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yes.
When that happens, we recommend that they contact all the credit bureaus, freeze their credit accounts, and then they basically take the steps to, sometimes I've had somebody have to order a new social security number. It depends on the level of identity theft, okay? But other times just freezing their credit report will suffice. So there are various levels, it depends. It can escalate all the way up to the victim having to get a new social security number. Does that make sense?
It does. Particular person I'm talking about actually got arrested because someone had stolen her identity, and she got arrested, put in jail. You know, had to go through the bondsman to pay a fine and all of this stuff. And you know, she was on welfare. You know, and so they had gotten into her accounts, had gotten welfare in her name, everything. You know, and so it took about 3 years for her to get some semblance of her own identity back. You know, and so I was, you know, we were talking about legislation. What type of legislation is there for the police forces, FBI, and all of them to go after those identity thieves?
I just want to make sure that this never happens to this woman again. So she does need to go to the Identity Theft Resource Center and make sure that her whole identity is cleared, that there's a piece of paper that she carries to show that her identity's been compromised. So she needs to resolve it forever, and she's gonna need help doing it, and there is an identity theft resource center that specifically works with victims to do that.